let us bring in our guests right away. And there she is. Sheri, I have to ask you, and I meant to ask you before the show, is it pronounced Doyle or Doyel?
Doyle.
Doyle. Okay, so I
Yeah.
did get it right the first
I
time.
just we spell it a little funny. It's spelled phonetically, but it's still pronounced Doyle.
Okay, and our other guest here, we tried to get the video connection earlier, and it was a little rough. So Lisa Kivirist, who has been on our show several times, are you with us, Lisa?
Hey, hi.
Good. The audio sounds good now, so this is what we're going to go with.
Lovely.
At least as much as we can, which is a good thing. We have Sheri with us too, who has a slightly better internet connection. And what I'm going to suggest to one of you, because I'm getting a little bit of feedback, is if you have your volume up really loud, take it down, and then we won't get that quite just low enough so you can hear me, and not high enough so that it bounces back. There we go. Sheri was a guest on the show way back in the day. We're talking like a decade ago.
Down the dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, at Progresso Radio, like the soup. And she at the time was at Angelic Organics Learning Center, but now she is the director of McHenry County College's brand spanking new Center for Agrarian Learning. And I don't know if you saw the blog, but I was kind of, I shouldn't pat myself on the back or I'll break my arm. But I just thought the idea that we could teach people to walk like an agrarian was actually kind of fun. So, do you like that idea, Sheri?
That's very good. I like that idea.
So you may steal it if you need
Okay,
to.
thank you.
Walk like
Yeah.
an agrarian.
Look like an agrarian.
And
With
tell us about that. I should preface this because Peggy and I each year try to get to the Green Living Expo at McHenry County College, and we love it. And Kim Hankins has just done a fantastic job of putting that together, and it was a real shame that it couldn't be done in the year of COVID. Because each year you could watch it grow. I don't know how many you've been a part of, but just hundreds of people would come and be part of this. And as I always say, there's something in the water in McHenry County because people get it. They they are really tuned in to the environment. So now when I hear you're doing this program at McHenry, I'm very excited about it. It sounds unique. I don't know if it is unique, but tell us about the Center for Agrarian Learning.
Sure. So you're right that McHenry County is a pretty special place. And for those, we're about 60 to 70 miles northwest of Chicago. And I've been at this job for about a year, and we launched our public programs in January of 2020. And part of the reason that I was excited to join the college is because the county already had demonstrated a real fundamental interest in not just agriculture in general, but also in innovations in agriculture, innovations in how to, make a living on a smaller piece of land, as well as a very robust agritourism industry. And then, like you said, the McHenry County Conservation District, Soil and Water, the Land Conservancy. There's already several nonprofits and agencies in the county that are doing really good conservation work, that is tied to agriculture. So it's a place where you're far enough away from the city that there's a lot of land, but there's also a lot of people that are hungry for healthy food, locally produced food. And so we feel like we're positioned really well to have an impact on the food economy. both because we are situated in this sort of middle zone between supply and demand. We refer to Chicago as the very hungry mouth of Chicago. And the eaters in the Chicago food shed support a lot of farmers in McHenry County and beyond. So that's the exciting thing about the county. And the college, it's very unique, Mike, to answer your question. So for a community college to step into this space is unusual, specifically because the Center for Agrarian Learning, if you think of it as sort of an entity within the college, it has a little bit of an outward face. So it's education for farmers and food business owners. We're really hoping to do a lot of convening of thinkers and doers in the food system, whether it be through the workshop format or small conferences. Today, we're going to be talking about our Forefront Speaker Series. So the center really wants to create a space, not only to roll out our own programs that support farmers and business owners, but also to bring folks to us so we can host events that other people, it's the brainchild that they're bringing. And then the other piece I can talk about, I can do that now or later, is the new entrepreneurial ag degree at the college, which is very much a part of the center and a part of how we see farmers as mentors and learners coming together with people who want to get an associate's degree in entrepreneurial ag and are just getting started. So we have these sort of two pieces that we think will be robust, hopefully have a positive impact.
Well, you're one of the
Okay.
people. Yes, Peggy?
We're getting a little bit of broadcast interrupted on Facebook. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Okay.
The video just got lost,
Okay.
but I think we're back. Just letting you know that.
Yeah, we're experiencing some buffering problems here, and
Yeah.
we're going to plow through them best we can. It is what it is right now. It's like
Yep.
it's the learning curve here. It's all part of it, And
It's actually rural broadband too. So this is the reality of what people talk about with rural access.
well, it's also Sunday morning, and everybody on the internet for church and streaming.
Right.
All at 10 a.m. I think some things change a little bit. I think that's when a lot of folks get on there. So we're going to get through this best we can. So you mentioned your Forefront Speaker Series, which is part of the center and the Center for Agrarian Learning, and you have a bunch of things happening. You have through the end of the year. You're going to have 3 things starting next week. On Sunday, October 11th, which is why we wanted to talk today. Tell us a little bit about the series, and then we'll get to Lisa, who is going to be appearing in the first of these talks and events.
Sure. So the series is called Forefront: Ideas in Food and Farming. So with all of our programming, we really want to be connecting this idea of production and consumption. So food and farming. And this is a bigger idea talk series. So it's the second Sunday of the month, October, November, and December. And Lisa and a panel of great female farmers are going to be featured on October 11th, the first one. So that's just next weekend. But we're bringing in speakers to talk across the spectrum in terms of, it could be about vegetable production, it could be about rotational grazing, topics could be about, business startup, business both in the food and farming sector. So we started this last winter, and we got 2 sessions in before the pandemic, and we had to postpone. And we had a really good response to those last winter. So we're optimistic about this fall, and it'll be interesting to have them in a webinar format because it actually can draw from a much wider region.
Yeah, and it starts, as you said, with Soil Sisters next week, how women are changing the food system. And then on November 15th, about a month later, Whole Grain Supply Chain.
Mhm.
And what is that going to be about, very briefly?
Briefly, it's about a food system dietitian, a farmer, and a baker, all of whom work with, in their various ways, artisanal grains. And they're going to talk about the challenges and successes they've had working with different kinds of grains in their businesses.
All right. And then finally, on December 13th, Regenerative Agriculture, Details of a Profitable Journey. I assume that you're going to attempt to convince people that being kind to the earth is not necessarily a losing proposition.
Right. Yeah. We have Gabe Brown coming in from North Dakota, and he, on 5,000 acres, has changed his bottom line through his regenerative practices. So that's something that applies to both grazers and large scale farmers, as well as gardeners. So he has some 6 principles of regenerative growing that he's going to talk about that can be on lots of different scales.
Peggy? Did you have your hand up, Peggy?
No, I was unmuting my microphone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No, I'm trying to figure out what's going on Facebook right now. That's all.
It's okay. So let's get to Lisa Kivirist, who has also been on our show in the past. She has done the award-winning Soil Sisters farm tour in southern Wisconsin. She's the author of Soil Sisters, a toolkit for women farmers, and has been also coordinates the In Her Boots Women Farmer Training Initiative for the Midwest Organic and Sustainable Education Service. A lot of you know that as Moses. And they also, the first time I met Lisa was when she was on our show to talk about Homemade for Sale, which she wrote with her husband, John Ivanko. Welcome, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's full throttle harvest time here in Wisconsin.
Yeah. I don't know how an activist, and you do a lot of different things, how you manage to do everything all at once.
Hey, as you and Peggy have to eat, right? So we got to get that done first, and then everything on top. But no, it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it's pretty beautiful down here today, although it's going to get cold tonight, as it will up in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, we're going to get our first hard frost, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So that means you're going to do this and then probably head out to the farm to get stuff done, right?
You bet.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to accomplish next week. Who's going to be working with you, and how are you going to approach the Soil Sisters, how women are changing the food system?
Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, so we are so excited to be the kickoff to Sheri's series here of, I love the idea of Forefront, because the women we will be bringing to the virtual space have been doing innovative things pre-pandemic, and that's really a big message amongst women in sustainable and organic agriculture for years now, is doing things differently. So we have a great trio of women who have their hands in the soil, but like the title speaks of Soil Sisters, we have our hands in the soil, but our arms around each other, because it's a really collaborative movement for farmers today. So Ethel Morris here, not far from me in southern Wisconsin, is an organic vegetable grower, but her innovation is she has founded and leads the South Central Wisconsin Hemp Cooperative, organic hemp cooperative in the state. But really pioneer, talk about being a pioneer farmer in the world of hemp. That's a whole other story, but she took it on and navigates it with grace and integrity and leadership, these new paths. And then Beth Osmond and her family at Cedar Valley Sustainable Farm in Ottawa, Illinois, they were the first meat CSA in Illinois now years ago. And I think she'd be the first to say she's glad she's not and how do you try out new things and bring other farms along. And Dulce is an urban farmer in Chicago who's establishing new farmers markets in areas of Chicago, primarily Mexican neighborhoods that need some more in there. So I'm really excited to tap into their energy and ideas of how do we keep new ideas along with collaboration in our food system and change things and come out of the pandemic not only different but stronger.
And how you're maintaining community through the whole thing as well.
Oh, totally, Peggy. And that's what I think is really unique in my world of working with women in sustainable ag is, we really embrace the sea of community, the sea of collaboration, and all those good things where we realize we're stronger together. And you see that it defies traditional business models, right? If I was in a business school saying I was sharing my information, how I learned farming, my ups and downs and challenges with somebody else who's going to be doing the same thing, that seems silly, that seems stupid. Why would you do that? But we realize we're stronger. And when we moved here to Greene County in southern Wisconsin now over 20 years ago, for example, we were the only farm stay, bed and breakfast on our farm. And now we have over a dozen, mostly other women farmer-led out of our Soil Sisters network, and that's awesome. That's not competition. We're a destination now, and we did that all together by supporting each other, and that's how things are going to change.
Yeah, the Soil Sisters being an annual, except for this year, unfortunately, being an annual farm tour and major event that keeps growing.
Yeah, we were really, really bummed to have to postpone this year, the first weekend in August now for 8 years. We've had what has grown to be the largest women of its kind in the country here in southern Wisconsin. So a warm invite to hopefully join us next year for a weekend of farm tours and culinary events and on-farm workshops, all on women-owned farms, and really experiences to get up close and personal with both your farmer and your food source and beautiful rural Wisconsin.
I will ask, you talk about the changes, but women working and running farms is somewhat new, but it's not in another way because women have always been involved in farms. What has changed in the equation?
It's the oldest thing, right? Women have been growing food, feeding their families and communities since the dawn of modern agriculture, right? We're talking hundreds, thousands of years. But interestingly, it's really over the last 40, 50 years that women have achieved political and economic rights in farming. And that's what we'll be talking about more too at the Soul Sisters session next Sunday, is how fast things have changed and how important that is, that women, not just in agriculture, but all industries, are recognized for their work. And it wasn't until the 70s, for example, that the United States agricultural, right? All farmers are counted and how much is in production. And that's really important data because it's what drives the Farm Bill, drives policy, drives funding. It wasn't until the late 1970s that women were counted.
And the agricultural census.
The agricultural census, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So
sorry, you dropped out when you said what it was.
It's different than the people census we have going on now. It's specifically for farming, but the ag census had one spot for the name of the farm owner, and that traditionally went to the male head of household. So to the USDA's credit, they realize it's not just women, but we have a more diverse face of farming now that we need to capture. So the latest ag census that went out had 7 spots, I believe, for farm owners. So to reflect, family partnerships and siblings and spouses and all sorts of different ways we're farming. So 70s that happened, and things have escalated since then, which is really a theme you'll hear, I'm sure, next Sunday too, of the need for women in agriculture to continue on this leadership front. I mean, these changes, they need drive, they need vision, they need people behind them. And we still are exceptionally underrepresented as women in the agriculture leadership realm, at the policy planning table, at deciding where going to go. So it's really inspiring to see women like Dulce and Elle and Beth who are taking things further and stepping up to those leadership levels.
So not only that, are you doing these in the month of October, November, and December, Sheri, but moving into the new year, you've got more initiatives at MCC. What are those?
True. So this year, in addition to Forefront, we do have a film screening based on Henry Brockman's farm. He's a cornerstone vendor at the Evanston Farmers Market, and we're doing that's called Seasons of Change at Henry's Farm, with a conversation afterwards with the filmmaker Inez Sommer
Matt.
and author Tara Brockman. So we're doing that in collaboration with the Land Conservancy. So that's November 12th, 6 p.m. And then in the 2020 year, in January, we have a lot going on. So we're bringing Atina Diffley in through Family Farm to do a workshop on record keeping and crop planning. And the great lens on that is that, especially with the pandemic, farmers who have the facility to switch gears quickly are the ones that are doing well and surviving. And a lot of times that decision-making process is based on good record keeping.
Mhm.
So we're going to have a 4-part series with Atina in January. And then we are also doing a series called All Things Hemp in collaboration with Rachel Berry of the Illinois Hemp Association. So that will cover production and also some marketing in the new hemp industry. We're looking forward. And I just want to say real quick, Lisa did a great job emphasizing the importance of our panelists and their innovations. But Lisa herself is such an example of not just leadership, but she's a boots on the ground and an ideas person, as well as involved in lots of education and agencies. So I hope people can tune in to see how Lisa has crafted her livelihood from all these different pieces that are from being an author to a business owner to an advocate. So I'm really looking forward to Soil Sisters, and we have a lot going on all through January is planned up till right now.
I'm really impressed with what you've put together. Now, obviously, this is all online, and as we continue to work our way through the pandemic, is there anything you want to tell people about that? We have the link to the Forefront Speaker Series on the website. You can go to MikeNowak.net, and that information is there. But if folks are interested in dropping in and seeing these, and you're gonna, I mean, it just sounds wonderful. Like that. These are. Go ahead, Sheri.
It's easy to plug in on our webpage, mchenry.edu/forefront. You'll find the links. You do have to register through brown paper tickets, which is easy, but they are free. So that's another thing to mention is these are 2-hour speaker series that are free and will be on Zoom webinar format.
Okay. And before we go here, I just want to ask Lisa, what has it been like for you as a farmer? We've had a number of farmers on the show. I have to say, Sheri, that you listed all these people who are going to be there, and pretty much every one of them's been on our show lately, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And Lisa, we've asked a lot of farmers this year what it's been like to get through this pandemic, and I'm going to ask you the same question.
Well, personally for us, it's been all about diversification. And fortunately, for years since we got here, because, for example, the B&B and farm stay side I mentioned is something we needed to close down this year, given COVID, safety concerns, ethical issues of travel, pump up some other things and do more local produce sales and other outlets, as well as just bunkering down and living lean on the farm. But that has to do, again, with the resilience factor. We run our farm on renewable energy.
Mhm.
Another bill we don't have to pay to the utilities. So the diversification really helps a lot. And I see that in other farms too, where if you don't put all your eggs in one basket, if some eggs need to crack, you can still make a go. It's been tough. It's been tough and inspiring at the same time to see the creative ideas coming out of sustainable ag.
Some farmers have said they actually have done better this year than in past years. I think it kind of depends what your focus was. Where are you on that scale? Are you one of the farmers that did better? Is it about the same, or has it just been a struggle?
I would say about the same in the sense that things even out. For us, the agritourism side was a gap, but the fact that what you're saying, Mike, that there has been even stronger interest in the local food scene has been awesome and really supported farmers who have already been set up for doing that. So some farms, for example, that might have had primary wholesale markets at restaurants have had a tougher year, but again, with some creativity could pivot to more local sales. I see a lot of folks in urban areas buying extra freezers right now so they can stock up on produce, on meat, on all of that. So to the bigger picture and the need for us all to pivot, it's going to make our local food system more vibrant, I believe, because people are realizing the consequences of industrial ag and, more importantly, are having opportunities to connect locally with their farmers.
Yeah, you know,
Exactly.
people in rural areas are not the only ones buying freezers, okay? And that's one of the things that's happened. And Sheri and Lisa, I think with the pandemic, and I'm not the first person to say this, and I've been saying it for months anyway, is it's exposed so much inequity in our country, in our food system, in our health care, and on, that there need to be changes made. The biggest waste of 210,000 lives would be if nothing changed after we found a way to deal with the COVID virus. So that would be the ultimate insult to those people who died. So I'm hoping that what we're seeing now is actually transformative. There's no way of knowing, but I hope it is. Sheri Doyel, thank you so much. Go to my website, or you can go to www.mchenry.edu/cal, C-A-L, and find more information. And Lisa Kivirist, thank you for your great work. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, and keep it up. It's important.
Thank you so much.